Welcome back to the Ref Show. I think we were rudely interrupted. These two were in full flow, Mark Halsey and Gary Megson. I think the theme of it was that referees are now part of this focus. Previously, if the referee had a good game, you wouldn't discuss his performance. We discuss all the performances here.
Years ago, it was years ago, it wasn't that long ago. It was how do you describe a referee's good performance? Oh, you didn't know he was there. Yeah. Now they're under so much scrutiny. I think it's harder for referees than it is the players, because the players and the managers and everybody involved on that side of it.
Is it our fault?
No, it's just part of how the game's going now, because it's like...
Oh, it's his fault then?
That's the game. No. Well, it's the game that's moved on, and the game's just moved on so much over the last 20 years. But they have to
be part of the debate and the analysis because they're so big a part of it.
Of course. I mean, because the pace of the game, the intensity of it, and there's so many big decisions now to be made during a game because of the intensity and the pace of the Premier League football.
Big calls briefly on Anthony Taylor's game. It was quite a difficult one in some ways. Stoke 1, Chelsea 2. Any game is with Diego Costa involved in running battles, as he was in that game.
I've refereed that game a few times, and it is a very difficult game to referee, Stoke and Chelsea. And yes, there's battles going all over the pitch, especially you've got Shawcross at the back and you've got Costa, them two. And I thought to be fair, I thought a couple of people tweeted me saying they thought Anthony Taylor was all over the place. But what I saw on match day, I thought he handled it quite well. Obviously, the disallowed goal, I was quite confused because he's give it for a push, but then he's put his arm up for an indirect free kick. So I'd like to know what the goal was disallowed for.
It was a push. Places, as a referee, where you think it's harder to referee at the place, not the teams, not the players, but the actual place. Because I was manager of Stoke for a while, and the intensity there for Stoke City is unbelievable.
Well, amongst referees that we all agreed on was the two hardest places to referee was Stoke, because of the fans. It was one of the most hostile grounds to referee at, and Goodison Park because of the closeness of it. I used to love refereeing at Goodison Park.
Okay, Phil Barsley was sent off for 2 yellows. No argument on that, I don't think. There was a bit of a soft penalty given for a push by Gary Cahill. But other than that, you thought Anthony Taylor had a good game. Paul Tierney. Now, this was Everton Hull. We've mentioned already, you don't think that was a straight red card for Tom Huddleston for his challenge there. You were pretty clear on that.
Yeah, I think. Listen, it's all about angles, isn't it, and positioning, and from where Paul Tierney was. I mean, for him, he saw it as a reckless challenge endangering the player's safety with excessive force. For me, I looked at it straight away. I saw it, and obviously I was privileged that Richard Keys from BN Sports sent me the clip, and straight away I thought that's not a red card. But as I say, I don't think they would win the appeal because they've got to prove that Paul's made a serious and obvious error. But and obviously he hasn't really, because it's all about opinions at the end of the day.
Indeed. We'll look at the Championship shortly. We've got some huge games there over the weekend. Oh, just briefly on Everton, I know you prefer to talk about the footballing aspects of the show, Gary, and not the refereeing. Lukaku for Everton. The first Everton player to score 20 league goals, I think, for 31 years since Gary Lineker. He's some player, isn't he? Not Lineker, Lukaku.
Yeah, and it's and again, it's going to throw up its own problems for Everton. It's so difficult for clubs outside what you would call the big four now, that you try and get your club sorted, you get in as many good players as you can. As soon as you get it sorted, somebody from the big four or elsewhere is after your best players. And I heard a discussion over the weekend about Lukaku. Everton's not big enough for him. It's Everton. It's a huge football club, and it's huge. It's so difficult for clubs like Everton and Southampton as well. Every time they get a really top draw player, everybody discusses where's he going next, and but it's so hard.
I mean, Gary's right. I mean, Lukaku's a fabulous player, but do you not think he should just do his talking on the pitch and be a bit quiet?
I would guess it's not him doing the talking. There's people behind him, his advisors.
And that is the problem. It's a problem for managers at that level, with the clubs of that size. You say they are big clubs, aren't they?
It's a massive club, and you see, Lukaku's, the club's not big enough for Lukaku. To be fair, he didn't say that.
Two scrappers at the other end. Crystal Palace beating Watford by 1-0. That's quite a fiery one for the very informed Martin Atkinson, Mark.
Yeah, Martin. I mean, Martin's shown his class at the moment, isn't he? I thought he handled the game very well. Obviously, he got, with Big Sam not happy with referees at the present time and decisions going against him. But yeah, Martin handled that very well.
There was an argument there should have been a free kick at one end ahead of what was a crucial free kick at the other, which produced the Crystal Palace winner.
Yeah, but you say that.
How far do you go back?
That's what I'm saying. How far do you go back? They've still got.
Couldn't you have done something about it in the meantime?
You've got the whole length of the pitch to defend, so you can't look at one decision of opinion by the referee at one end. Matter of fact, yes, but of opinions, no. And I think that Martin's in a rich vein of form at present.
This is a discussion point I've been looking forward to since the start of the show. It involves Manchester United's 3-1 win at Middlesbrough. In terms of the 90 minutes, Guy Beale assessing John Moss's performance on RefCam, rated it good fitness and positioning. We have no drama to discuss during the 90 minutes, but suggestions of a bust up in the tunnel, that old, phrase that could mean almost anything, bust up in the tunnel. It may have taken place, well, it presumably did. In the old days, come on, be honest, Mark, how would you have dealt with that kind of scenario?
In the old days, even the present days, where obviously I've recently retired, you get in that tunnel, you get in your dressing room as quickly as possible and you don't see anything.
There you go. So
I didn't get involved.
The thing is who's the last people off the pitch? So you don't know what's going on in that. So some of the things that have gone on in the past, beg a belief. But it goes on now because there's always flashpoints. The referee and the linesman are always the last people off the pitch. So for a minute or two, there's other people in that tunnel, and you won't see what's going on.
Absolutely, and then I think.
But you used to get off quickly. So
but then you go off last, and then you just get through, and you get through into your dressing room.
Blindfold on.
Normally your dressing room's the nearest one for the referees in most of the grounds. But I think that stemmed from what happened at the end of the game with Middlesbrough United with Bailey, and I think was it Gestead? Was it? I think they had a bit of a problem. But I thought Jonathan Moss dealt with it very well. To be fair,
you were never involved in anything like that.
I know a football ground donkeys years ago where it had a corner on it, and you couldn't see what was round that corner, and all sorts used to go on. It wasn't a particularly nice place to go around there.
Where was that?
Was it Yorkshire?
Bury.
Oh.
It was very. You go up the tunnel, and then there was a left turn, and things used to happen on that turn. Then
that's right. And the referee's dressing room straight in front of you, so the referee would just run straight at you. And what goes on down there? I'm not interested. Get out of the way.
That's where your nephew plays.
Yes, he's
you'll have to tell him about that little hidey hole if he hasn't found it already.
He's doing very well.
George Miller. Okay, on to the Championship. I saw Leeds and Brighton. Elland Road and Lee Mason. Love him or loathe him. He's had his critics. I've got to say that from what I saw, I thought he had a good game in this huge Championship match. Correct penalty to Leeds, and he refused one to Leeds in the first half, correctly.
Yeah, absolutely correct. And he has come in for a bit of criticism this season, Lee. But I would like to think that he can handle those games with ease. Obviously being a select group referee, he should be able to step down and referee those games without any problems. But there was a big decision, the penalty. He got it absolutely spot on in a good position, and to give it. Surely
they are harder than, say, a mid-table Premier League game, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I used to think they're potential banana skins because people know you're Premier League, you're a Premier League or select group referee, and you had to be 110% on form, and because any sort of little thing they'd be singing, Premier League are having a laugh. Yeah. So it's always difficult to come down and referee those games.
One of the referees who appears to be on the upward momentum is Peter Banks, Select Group 2, knocking on the door, and he had the big East Midlands derby, Forest and Derby County, 2-2, sounded a great game. What's more, there doesn't seem to be any controversy whatsoever, which is remarkable, and only 2 yellow cards. Yeah, I know that's high for you, 2 yellow cards in the derby.
But I mean, let's congratulate the players because, a referee can only referee a game, and it's the players that dictate and how he referees that game. So let's congratulate both Nottingham Forest and Derby players for the way they behaved. Yeah,
but I think again, like you congratulate the players, but the players will be playing a game exactly as they would. And a Derby game, I've been involved in that one. It's a real intense game. I think the referees need a lot of praise for refereeing a Derby in the right manner. A really big game. If they make a mistake, send somebody off really early on. They then get criticised for, as we said, for ruining it.
You did let it flow, and you can only referee what's in front of you. And to be fair, Peter Banks is doing well.
Your final game as Sheffield Wednesday manager, and indeed your last game as a manager, was a 1-0 win over Sheffield United. Who was refereeing that day, Gary? Do you remember?
It wasn't my fault.
Some little fat bloke who couldn't get around the pitch too well.
It wasn't my fault. He got sacked. He won 1-0.
There were no yellow cards in the game, so I've completely forgotten who the referee was. And that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Mark's a friend of mine, and but it's the kind of referee when you know what the derby is going to bring, and then you see who's refereeing it. You're quite pleased because, not because he's a friend of mine, but because he's got that experience that he's going to see things. And there were things in that game that were going to go on, but he just let go on.
Quick word of praise just finally as we're running out of time. David Coote was in charge of Huddersfield's defeat by 4-0 at Bristol City. They weren't worried about that as much as the injury, the serious injury, fractured neck, Jonathan Hogg. Stopped the game immediately, David Coote there. So 4 marks to him.
4 marks to him, I thought was excellent. And I think as well, what they should be doing now is showing that instant to all the players, because whenever you see a referee stop the game for a head injury or for an injury, the players go absolutely ballistic because they thought they were in possession and they were attacking. Yeah. So that well done, David Coote.
Well done, David Coote, and also best wishes to Jonathan Hogg and also to Joe Thompson of Rochdale, very sadly diagnosed with cancer for the second time. We do wish him well with his recovery, and we thank Mark Halsey and Gary Megson and you for watching, and we hope to see you again for another Ref Show next week. Bye.